A very good evening, everyone. We are here at SOIL from the current batch. My name is Ashwarya.
My name is Indrajit.
And we'll just run you through a few pointers at SOIL, our life at SOIL, and what this past 1 year has been as we're just literally nearing the end of the course. I actually come with a graduate degree in commerce with a postgraduate diploma in banking. I have almost about over 5 years of experience. I was the ICICI into retail and corporate banking, and then I moved to Deutsche Bank into investment banking operations. And soon after that, I actually joined SOIL. And the primary reason why I joined SOIL was because I felt there was a little gap in my learning in terms of I wanted my theory and my practice to actually make sense. I had the practical knowledge, but I wanted the theory base to be much stronger. And after coming here, I really think that I could literally put in sense to what I was doing and what the kind of the theory works and how the banking financial sector works. So yeah, that was my primary reason to bridge the gap and actually come out as a better leader, a better manager, and not just run out with a degree in finance.
Yeah, so I come from a manufacturing background, and I worked for a couple of years as a production engineer in a food company. And having a team of 50 to 60 employees, I guess I was doing more HR than engineering there. And later on, I realized my passion towards working for employees' well-being, and that's how I ended up in HR. SOIL's, right from the start, right from the admission process, it's very unique. The way they try to analyze who you are and what's your purpose, what's your mindset. I think that was something that attracted me a lot. So for me, it was actually an easy decision. Although it started off on a confusing note, but then quickly I decided that yes, SOIL is the place to be. And 1 year down the line, I don't regret it at all.
For me also, on similar lines as Indrajit said, I was looking predominantly for a 1 year course, which is quite difficult in India because I didn't want to move out. And SOIL seemed like a perfect balance because it not just put a lot of emphasis on the course structure. If you see the course outline, it has a very good balance of soft skills, interpersonal skills, the core knowledge in terms of the subjects, as well as an overall holistic course, as you say, the entire capsule that we put together, that you would say, because it includes leadership, it includes design thinking, it includes thinking out of the box, it includes teamwork, and so many things put together. Plus, as you mentioned, the initial stage itself, the first stage itself, where you actually get into the program, they kind of try to look for your strengths and not just weigh you on academics. And that was the best part, the psychometrics and the stat test that we actually had, that kind of helped us also to see that where exactly are my strengths across.
So I think the entire purpose of this course is to change the way we look at businesses. We think about business and we think about revenue, we think about profits, and we think about attrition. But then here they talk about the ethical part of business, the environment part of business, the sustainable part of business. And it's basically, redefining the way business is done. So SOIL, their aim is to make you a complete leader, starting from analyzing yourself first before you go on to lead others, and then think about all the stakeholders. When you run a business or when you are in a leadership position, a managerial position. So that's the entire crux, the essence of this course.
So once you even, I think, I would have to start with that once you even enter this place, the first thing you see is the pillars of SOIL. And that is something that you literally not just propagate or speak about, but you literally try and imbibe and practice it in everyday life. I mean, our pillars of integrity, compassion, mindfulness, sustainability, ethics are predominantly what even a founder says that, and we truly believe that it's something that businesses nowadays are kind of losing out on, and they need to get back to just to be more ethical in terms of dealing with everyone. And I think those are the preliminary, as in when you see the qualities of a leader, these are something which every leader imbibes. Every leader needs to imbibe and every leader should possess.
So just to give you a sense of what this journey is all about. So like Aishwarya mentioned that they focus a lot on soft skills, and we have certain unique courses like leadership, where the whole point is to first look into our own state of mind, who we are. First manage our own emotions, thoughts, before we move out and lead teams. And then we have a wonderful Safari trip, where if I talk about Safari trip, it will probably take 40 minutes for that itself, where you actually try to connect with yourself, where the meaning of the word meditation is taken into a whole different level, where you meet villagers who are so independent, who are so self-sufficient, that you actually get to learn from them. And we have a happiness course where they explain the actual true meaning of happiness. So these unique courses outside class hours is what makes SOIL unique, and that's the USP of SOIL. That's where the actual growth happens. At the end of the year, we have courses like theater workshop, where I think it's absolutely life altering, if I can term it that way. You actually open up to new possibilities. You get to know a new side of yourself. And I'm quite sure that every student has mentioned that they have discovered a new side of themselves after the course. I think you are in for a lot in this 1 year.
So even one of the major USPs, like we also say of SOIL, is, as you mentioned, the soft skills, the interpersonal skills, the leadership skills that we really try and put it across. But another thing is that since it's a consortium of almost 32 corporates put together, the curriculum is actually revised every year to see and suit that what the corporates really need, and let's give them what the corporate structure really requires right now. So it's quite a give and take from the corporate and between the education institution. So our program is actually revised every year. We just had another meeting with the faculty where they came up to us to take a feedback, an honest feedback on how they think and what worked, what did not work, where we think that could be done better, which courses were nice, which courses could have been better, the structure of it. And we also have an option of going up to our faculty to tell them that this is something that we want to learn. Is it possible for you to include this for us? So that's one of the very good advantages, since it's not an AICTE approved, which a lot of people think it's a hindrance. But in a way, it's good for us because we ourselves were able to come up with a few courses which we wanted to learn this year. For finance, for that matter, we did not have a course in strategic finance. We did not have a course specifically in terms of MBA. But we kind of made it sure that was included this year, and we were able to learn it through. So that is one of the major, and of course, because of the industry give and take, our relationship with the industry is actually quite strong in the bond. When it came to the soft skills, the theatre workshop we just finished with, we have a brilliant session. We have brilliant sessions with our founder, who is Mr. Anusade, who is known to be a mentor for so many corporate stalwarts, for that matter. And he takes personal sessions with us for interviews. He takes personal sessions on corporate skills, for consulting skills. I'm sorry, and it is kind of a building block towards becoming better consultants, better managers, better takers in terms of information from your clients.
Yeah. So we'll take a pause here. We can see a few questions coming up. So we'll start with that. I think the first question is asked by Nidhi Malkan. Hi, what additional qualifications or qualities are required to be a manager? I think we have thrown a little bit of light on that. Like we've mentioned that a manager need not be only thinking about his or her team or just the business. I think it's when you look at all the stakeholders and when you try to understand their perspective, I think that's when you come up with better decisions. And that's when you make these sensible decisions
Yes, true.
and that's what is required to be a good manager.
I think on similar lines, of course, I think one of the key things is when you're able to lead the team well, and they literally want to be like you. That is something that truly defines one of the leaders, I would have to say. And of course, the compassion and the communication, the way you really interact with them, that goes without saying. But a few key points that we mentioned very early on when we started the discussion are the ones that we truly think that the leaders today must possess.
Yeah. So we have the second question from Chirag Shukla. Hello, can you please tell me how is leadership taught differently at SOIL? I think we have covered that.
Sort of, yes.
Yeah.
So we do have, like you mentioned, we do have a few courses on basically specifically on self-leadership, on happiness, on you have on inquiry, and these things kind of help you become a better leader, better communicator.
Yeah.
I think Idrijit, you would want to add something more to that?
Yeah, I mean, every day you come here, you kind of confirm that yes, it's quite different, because to be honest, finance, HR, marketing, analytics, you will be taught in every college, but it's these things that we talked about. That's what makes you a different person, a different person in the workplace. And I think that's how SOIL is different. Their entire purpose of management education is quite different from the rest.
Okay, I think one thing we forgot to mention right at the beginning, I don't know the ones who are watching if they're aware of it. So here we have actually 4 cohorts.
Yeah.
We primarily have 2, which is one is the business leadership program and the other is the HRLB program. The business leadership program is further split down. We have few specializations. Until about 3 years back, it used to be general management.
Yeah.
But then they felt that the growing need of everyone should have like a niche area or should be specializing in something, so that they kind of are able to expertise in something. So they were broken down further into finance, analytics, and marketing. And this year, actually, we kind of combined analytics and finance together, because even finance markets are moving more towards fintech and more towards technology. So that was a good mix that they brought about this year.
Yeah.
Let's take another question.
The next question is from Rima Oza. Can you tell me a little bit about placements at SOIL?
All right. So the first and foremost thing is we would like to go a little before placements. Is what most one-year colleges do not have an internship program. SOIL actually we would have to see very tactfully in a way, because they've placed it at very right time in our curriculum. So we have almost 6 weeks of internship, wherein it really helps a lot of us who've come from very different streams who are looking for a change to go in for an internship project, which will kind of help you add weight to your resume and trying to showcase that why you would be a good fit in the final placements. And the internships also work similar on the final placements line, that you have proper interviews, your resumes are shortlisted, it's shared with the corporates, and you go through all the rounds of JDs, PIs, depending upon the company, and then you give it up. But the very important thing is that a lot of emphasis is laid on the project that you get, because that we think that adds a lot of weight any which ways. So this happens, and soon after we come back from Sidbari, which is around October end, is when our placements start in November. And Sidbari is also again a very good time, because there we have so many workshops which are conducted, which help you in your GDs, your PIs. We even have face-to-face interviews with Anil sir and a lot of CNS team members. So it kind of helps each one of us build up our personal interview and those skills, owning our skills and kind of polishing our speech skills. And our placement week starts from almost early November is when few companies start coming in. That's my day 0 and day minus. And this year, actually, we have almost finished off most of our batches actually placed. we just have a very handful, and we still have a lot of companies which are lined up. If I talk about, I'll speak more in terms of the BLP. So BLP, we have we have analytics and finance, and almost 99% is placed. We are waiting results for 2 people. So that's almost 98% is placed. We're just waiting results for 2 guys, which is already in pipeline. And the average package has more or less been around 10, because a lot of people have got on the upper side of about 12, 15, 13, those also. And the lowest probably would have been around 8.5. That's like the bracket that we usually start off with, because so 8.5 to almost 12 to 13, but the average we would take it about is around 10. And for marketing also, we have almost a similar kind of bracket. We have about 8 till about 12, 13. And there also we just have this batch strength of being about 40. In marketing, we just have about 5 to 6 still on hold, which are actually we're just awaiting results.
Yeah. Yes, just to add to what Aishwarya mentioned, I think the internship is quite crucial in the interview process, because I mean for students who are looking to change their stream,
absolutely,
for them that's the first point of contact with that respective field, and the students can actually talk passionately about what they have actually seen. So for example, if I talk about HR. So during internships, we have received projects of various kinds, be it talent acquisition, HR, tech, or PMS, and we could actually talk about them quite passionately in the interview process. And this entire journey of placement, it starts right from the first week, when they collect your individual development plans, and they help you to redesign your resumes, and they actually they guide you right from the start to end on how you should go about delivering in the interview process. And as far as the HR placements are concerned, it's the pattern is a little different from the business leadership. It's more spread out, and yes, of course, it starts from November, but it's not clustered. It spreads out, and it's a bit different. The good thing is that yes, we do have this minimum salary bracket which we maintain here. It's 6.5 for HR, and we are quite stringent about that. So the college ensures that you get the right opportunity, and they help you to clear those opportunities. I think that's what I can say about it.
Another very important point here is that I'm not too aware of the rest of the college, because I've not really heard about this thing. But even after your convocation, you're out of but till about 3 to about 4 months, the college actually still handholds you, gets you to the right opportunity. And most of them, even last year, we had a handful of students who, after convocation, were not placed. But then, yes, at the end of 3 months, all of them were really placed. So we are hopeful even for that. This year also, we would not have anyone unplaced left at the end of the session.
Yeah. We'll take up some more questions. So I think we have covered some of these questions, like for example, average package and summer internship experience.
We kind of spoke briefly on that, yes.
Yeah, and what kind of profiles are offered to students during the final placements?
All right. So when we talk about this, we'll again split it in HRLP and BLP. BLP, if I would have to start off with, if you come someone with a technical background and looking for something more or less into an IT company, then lots of opportunities, literally lots of opportunities. So people have been placed into pre-sales, into business development, into post-sales, into infrastructural IT teams, as well as we've had a lot of functional BA roles. And like I come from I come from a banking background, but I wanted to a little change, and here we actually do not get core finance roles because of the very reason that it's not a predominantly very pure finance subject. But yes, we got a lot of fintech companies coming in here this year. And a lot of us got fintech roles, like proper functional analyst roles into them, as well as marketing. We had a lot of sales development. A lot of people got placed with OYO rooms. A lot of more startups came in. Zomato was here. So more or less, we got similar roles in terms of marketing. We had more roles in terms of sales, in terms of business development, in terms of relationship management roles, key account management roles. And when we talk about your analytics team, we got a few data scientists. We had a lot of functional BA roles and a lot of pre-sales and post-sales roles.
Yeah, so in HR, I mean, the range is huge. And so you have some traditional roles such as talent acquisition, and you might have specific roles in PMS, or you might have an HR generalist role as well, where you have to kind of oversee all the sub-functions. The sort of roles which are upcoming right now are the HR tech roles. So you have to handle the digital aspect of HR as well, because that's something which is very important. It's given a lot of importance right now. And how do you collect data and analyze them and then take up decisions is something which companies are focusing on. They're focusing on HR softwares. Are you aware of these HR softwares or not? Do you know how they work, and what are the current trends? And you have roles such as HR business partners, where all your decisions are tightly linked with the business objectives. So yes, there has been an enhancement of the HR roles, and these are some of the examples that we have.
I'm sorry, I just forgot to mention we did have a few project managers also who worked through last week itself, and yeah, profiles are quite very similar. Let's take a few more questions.
Yeah. So we have a question here. I'm a BTech final year guy interested in MBA HR. Can you guide me?
That's Indrajit's area.
Confused. Okay. So if you're confused, I would like to say that don't be. Because we have freshers in our batch. We have 4 or 5 freshers, and almost all of them are placed right now. In fact, the good news is that the first one to get placed in our batch was a fresher. So the important thing here is that the companies, yes, there are a few companies who are looking for experience, relevant experience, but most of the organizations are looking at your attitude towards work, towards life, your knowledge in your subject. And if you're a fresher, they will exclusively focus on your internship experience. Absolutely. And I think for freshers, the internship experience is something which is, priceless. Yeah. That's literally your first work experience, I can say. And I think that's where we'll focus on. So if you're interested in HR, I would say that definitely, you are at the peak of your interest, and this is the right time for you to join this course, because in HR, we are not really looking for experience.
And even this year, we've had a few people who moved from pure IT coding roles, in fact, to HR roles. Okay, we have another question from Facebook. We have a question from Avir Paul, which says that does the current profile play a role in placement? It's quite similar to what Indrajit just answered, that it sort of does and sort of does not. But if you're able to convince the interviewer that you have knowledge, you are the right fit for that role that you're looking for, if you have that in-depth knowledge that you can really convince them at the end of the day, and if your internship project, you are able to showcase again on your resume, then that really does not really play a very pivotal role of what was your early profile. But you really, if there's something that you really find interesting and you want to move towards that, and you are able to convince them, then it doesn't really prove as a hindrance. The only thing we would like to add here is in terms of your previous experience, in terms of the number of years, kind of sets the benchmark for your salary packages, because a lot of companies come in with brackets that they will be able to provide the salary and upgrades according to the years of experience that you have. So that kind of puts in another layer of discussion there. That's about it.
So here it's mentioned that a question is mentioned here. SOIL conducts its own entrance exam for MBA or not? please suggest how can I get admission in SOIL if I score only 150 marks in CMAT?
And I'm unable to take admissions in SOIL. Okay, I'm a little lost in the question, but then
yeah. So he just wants. She wants to know if. So yes, SOIL. They have their own test, which is the STAT test, and it's very different from the other entrance exams which you have supposedly given. So they look into your personality, and of course there is a specific weightage given to your aptitude skills, which is common for all the entrance exam. But here, they want to know your thought processes as well, and I think that's a key criteria. So no matter what's your background, if you want to be in a specific specific cohort in a specific field, so this is what is the benchmark. This is what they want to know, and if you can convince them, what's your purpose behind taking up this field, then I think your CMAT score or any other past score should not be any hindrance at all to your admission process.
So I think we had one question on the topic. Can you tell me about something we did this?
Yeah.
How to apply in SOIL if I want to do MBA? Okay. We have a question from Anurag Pandey who says here that how to apply in SOIL if I want to do MBA in marketing. So Anurag, the process is the same. You just have to, the code that you mentioned or the area of specialization that you want to mention would have to be marketing in terms of anything else. But as Indrajit mentioned, our admission criteria is pretty much the same. We have a STAT test which kind of weighs your qualitative as well as quantitative, your abilities and your score. And its entire thing is actually cumulated to give your overall score in terms of soft and your leadership skills and your quantitative background. Apart from that, you need to submit a few essays trying to project that why are you the right fitment, what makes you so passionate about the line of study or the line of work that you will be choosing in further. And further on, then we have personal interviews if you have shortlisted further, where again we actually given situational questions to write essays on, and then we have face-to-face interviews where your interview could really be probably just having a conversation about anything that they feel, or it could be just a situational conversation, or probably anything what they really feel that would be the right type of the way to judge you is the right fit, basically. And is there anything else you would want to add from your interview experience?
Yeah, the essays that Ashwini talked about, actually they were quite interesting.
Yeah.
And to be honest, this was the most enjoyable admission process, where you actually had to put in a lot of thought behind what you want
actually,
to answer.
This was not one of those, that you just do a score and
exactly.
But you really have to think it through, that why do you really want this?
Exactly.
And you really have to look inside yourself to answer this question that am I the right fit? Am I really taking the right decision? A lot of those questions.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting, this entire process.
All right, so we have more questions from. We have a question from Manshu Paul. It says, does SOIL offer student exchange program? Can you tell me something about it? Okay. So we do have a program called, we have an exchange set up with MIP in Milano, Italy. And that's Politecno Institute of, I'm sorry, it's an Italian name, so really can't say it that well. Milano Institute Politecno. So that's also an MBA college. So we do have an exchange program in the last semester, where in fact, 2 sets of our students have already gone. We had the second set of students from Milano is actually here doing the theatre workshop with these guys. And you can choose the course that you really think is the best fit for you. The first set of students went for Industry 4.0. The second set of students, I think they've gone for something on the digital marketing. And the last set of students are due to go the next coming week. So we do have the exchange program. It's again an open and it's an open format. You can apply for it if they see that you are fit for it, depending on the scores, depending upon the interview or your pointers that they have listed across the parameters that they have, then you are open to go for it.
I think this entire exchange program, the essence of this program is, how when you get exposed to a different culture, that's when you come to know, how things are operated there.
That's so true.
What's their way of education. And SOIL, has tie-ups with those institutions which have the same philosophy, who believe in doing business in an ethical way, in a holistic way. We also have tie-ups with Japanese universities, Shizuoka universities. So which is very interesting because they also have the same.
Royal Roads, Canada.
Yeah,
as well.
In Royal Roads, Canada, they also have the same way of looking at businesses. So I think this exchange program gives you a lot of exposure towards their culture, and you get to learn a lot from that. So Ankush Gupta has a question. What would be an ideal profile to apply to SOIL? Well, Ankush, from our experience, we can say that there is no ideal profile.
And there's no definition here. That's the best part, that you are not stereotyped or boxed into one.
Exactly. Thing. So it's not a formula that if you have these qualification or this certain marks, only then you're qualified to be at SOIL. It's everything. It's what you say. It's your thought process. It's your attitude, and they just want to see what's your vision.
Absolutely.
These are the things which might look a little far-fetched right now, but SOIL has. They have their way to understand, to identify that these are the students who have their vision. To be a better leader, and they have the capability, they have the potential, and I think that's something you cannot restrict into an ideal profile as such. So that's something which is great. Any student can have a chance to be at SOIL if you match up to these kind of.
Guys, you remember a lot of questions from my stat test, even my interview revolved a lot around the ethical behavior, my leadership skills, the problem-solving ability, of how innovative or how out of the box you might be able to conflict resolution. So these are a lot of points that they laid a lot of emphasis on, because that's ultimately what a leader needs to be.
Yeah.
So it's not just seeing that how good are you at math or how good at your communication, but these things are given a lot of weightage here as well. And of course, at the end of it, where do you see yourself? Are you really allowing yourself to be a part of the change, and allowing yourself to go through an entire transformational journey is what they're literally looking for. And if you really are able to give yourself, immerse yourself, then you really are able to take a lot from this course. I would have to say, because there have been people who really came in with a lot of hope, but they really did not really kind of submit yourself.
Yeah.
If you really allow yourself to learn, then you really can take a lot from here. Sorry, okay, we have another question from FB, from Abir again, who says that people having 2-year degree or PGDM are at an advantage when compared to 1-year certified program by SOIL after being placed from SOIL. Okay, I would have to ask, advantage in terms of what are you talking about? If it is in terms of advantage on the role or the package, then I would have to say that we are almost at par with any tier 2, at least. Forget the top, we're not talking about the IIMs or the top tiers, but at least the middle level segment, we are almost at par, actually doing better than quite a lot of these 2-year courses. Plus, the very advantage that we talk about is that we take only students with experience, at least for the BLP, the Business Leadership Program that we're talking of. So with experience, you get a little mature quality of students as well, and they're able to connect the theory with the practice a lot easily. And even when you go back, you have a 2-year, you have some experience to, you're definitely better than a fresher in terms of, because you have an experience of a few years. There is definitely something which keeps you apart from the others. It's just that you need to kind of help yourself discover that and project yourself that you are different and show that how you're different.
Yeah, so I mean, this 1 year course is basically it's a fast track course.
Absolutely.
It's intense. So one thing I think we should mention right now that it's going to be intense.
Very intense.
It's going to be very intense. You're going to be actively participating throughout the year, and it's going to be a non-stop ride. And I think that's it's very similar to a two-year course. It's captured in 1 year. Capsule in 1 year, and you have, and that's the surprising part. In spite of being a 1 year course, you still have an internship program.
Absolutely.
So which just shows that time is not an issue here. If you really want to, develop your students, then you can fit in everything in 1 year.
Because even in that 1 year, we've done almost over 40.
Yeah.
BLP has done almost over 40 courses. And the only break we got was a 7-day break for the New Year and Christmas.
Yeah.
And that's it. Otherwise, the rest of the year we've worked we started in May, and we're right now towards the mid of April, and that's when our course is going to end. So literally have been going non-stop and on 6 days a week. And with international faculty coming in, or faculty from the corporate faculty coming in, who've been taking classes even on Sundays. So we've really not had a breather at all for most of the time. And so that's how we put it very clearly, that it's just encapsulated and put it together. We're not losing out on the subject, we're not losing out on the course material, but it's just the way it's imparted. It's kind of put it all together very, very, very well in just the 1 year period.
And I think we've had a lot of examples where once you are placed, once you get into the corporate life, after that, changing jobs is completely based on your competency and your potential. So in those times, certifications or degree, that's not an issue. If you are capable in that organization, if they feel that you are the right candidate, they'll take you. And we have seen a lot of examples, where our alumni, once they were placed, they switched jobs without any hindrance from this one year course tag which is given.
So that kind of answers the question that was further on, that preference by companies. That really is not the case, because alumni are literally across, and we've seen people switch jobs as well, or even being placed from here, and the companies don't really put it as a criteria.
Yeah.
Do we have any scholarship program? We do actually have a couple of scholarship programs, which is quite listed quite clearly on the website itself. We have a few for the defense students. We have a few merit scholarships for students who've done well throughout the school and college years, the graduate course. We have a few sports scholarships as well, and we have a few need-based scholarships. So the scholarship is really, the criteria is very, I would have to say, very subjective in terms of your profile and how well you're able to put it across, that if you're really, really worth it. Because even here, to be very honest, we do have competition for scholarships. The scholarship amount could vary. I think it starts from about 1 lakh to about 4 lakhs a waiver. So it really depends upon what is your criteria, where you put in. And yes, if you're able to, needs-based scholarships are really given outright, because we feel that if a student is really worth it, then money should not be the only criteria why he should not get into a good college.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If they're found you to be someone who is suitable for SOIL, then they believe that financial hindrance should not be there at all.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why SOIL honors this scholarship program, and that's something which is really wonderful.
So we could really look down through the website and see that what is the criteria that probably you fit in the best, and apply for that.
So AICT approved question by Anurag Pandey. We have just mentioned that AICT approved for a one year course. It's not a big deal, because like we have mentioned that
it's actually a 10th year running for SOIL.
Yes.
So
exactly, 10th year running for SOIL, and the fact that we have 32 consortium companies. So our curriculum, it suits their need, and whatever changes that have been happening in the industry, we are easily able to incorporate that in our course.
Sure.
And that's why, we are up to date with these processes in the interview process also. We are up to date. And I think that's the flexibility SOIL has. And this AICTE approval, you will come to know once you're here that it's not really causing any problems when it comes to the curriculum or the placement process or your knowledge. It's not really making.
In fact, a few of the companies like HCL,
Yeah.
which is like it needs no introduction.
Yeah.
HCL and a few more companies have actually placed SOIL as a tier 1 category of college, and they really, as in a lot of places, SOIL is given that good level, which is as good as your nursing or your IIMS level, because of the kind of product that it's created over the years.
There is a question by Anurag once again. I'm a fresher student, and you already mentioned that SOIL prefer experienced student. Is it better option for me? Anurag, I just wanted to know that whether you wanted to opt for the business leadership program or the HR. Because as far as HR is concerned, experience is not mandatory. You need not have experience. So there, SOIL accepts freshers as well. But if you are from...
If you're applying for a BLP course, which would be either finance, marketing, or analytics, one of the preliminary criteria is that you need to have at least a minimum of 2 years of experience. Because it's a little higher, as in it's a course for little executive, not in terms of the executive education category, but yes, we still feel that we need a little mature student base to be able to take in this course, to take in the leadership roles. That's the only reason it comes into your work experience criteria.
But if you're planning to opt for HR, please go ahead if you are fresh.
Okay, that sort of answers most of the questions we had. I think we just have one question in terms of what is the last date to apply for the SOIL entrance exam. Unfortunately, we're not aware, but if you could drop in a mail or we could get back to you in this conversation, we could ask someone to get back to you. You could actually reach out to either of us on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
His name is Indrajit Chatterjee and Ishwara Shankar. Our names are given in the post on LinkedIn as well. You could reach out to us personally, and we would be more than happy to answer your questions. We're so sorry we don't have information on this. We're really sorry.
Also, in the SOIL website, they have their mail IDs. You can drop in a mail there as well, and they will be more than happy to get back to you as far as the dates are concerned. Yeah.
Okay.
So Anurag is mentioned for
marketing. Anurag, really sorry, but for a BLP course, we do need 2 years, as I mentioned, is the criteria. 2 years work is the criteria that we actually look out for.
Yeah.
So more of the questions are answered. You want to add something else from maybe the best of the few courses that you felt?
So you see, from the HR perspective, the ones who are interested in this course, it has changed a lot over the years, and more and more emphasis for HR is to be connected to business, and I think that's something that we are told time and again in this course, and that's how the courses have been designed. Some of the courses like digital workplace or reskilling and retooling, and that's where they specifically emphasize on these upcoming HR tools and upcoming HR trends, and how can we be prepared for that? How do we not fall into the trap of traditional HR? What's the definition of traditional HR and how is it changing? And the fact that if you're not up to date with these trends, we can become irrelevant in the workplace, in the industries. So these courses are very unique. The HR it's actually modern HR that's being taught to us. It's HR which is fast-paced, agile, and more suited to the current workforce. And especially, we know that millennials and Gen Zs are the ones who are going to dominate the workplace. And how do we, how are we going to serve their needs? How do we engage these employees in our workplace? That's something which we are taught here. And that's something we need to know. Apart from the basic concepts and the traditional concepts of HR, this is something that we need to be prepared for. I think that's the whole essence, and that's the idea of the one-year HR leadership program.
I think one thing I forgot to mention it is because you're talking about being good leaders and being not just managers. So the entire place is also very student-driven in terms of you yourself take initiatives, and you yourself are allowed to take initiatives if you want to see some things change or you want to just bring in a few things new. A very strong thing was our Inspired Leadership Conference that we had. It's a flagship event of SOIL. Every year it has been conducting, and this year was the 10th year, as we said. This year also we saw the best was the concept this year was millennials versus Gen Z, and we tried to showcase our side of millennials, and it was in collaboration with the Shiv Nadar School in Gurgaon. And it was completely student-driven, from the speakers who were literally stalwarts from the industry, from the corporate industry, to we had a few book launches and a few cultural events, the collaboration with the school, the entire venue, all the guests, everything was student-done and student-driven, with faculty support alone and not really too much of their involvement. But yet again, putting the entire course in together, I think one thing is, like Indranjeet also mentioned, that it is quite a grueling course in terms of it takes a lot of effort for this 1 year. So if you have a session for say 3 hours, you actually need to put in double the hours of work to get the best out of the course that you've just had. Every course usually runs up to about 25 hours to about 32 hours. That's the standard of we have for each course in each subject in the course, basically. But yes, until unless you yourself are not able to put in those efforts, you really will not be able to get the best out of it. For me personally, I would have to say that from where I came in 1 year back to now, I see a lot of difference. Undoubtedly, I would have to accept it and not deny it. But a few very, very core courses which really helped me were not just the core finance courses, which I really came looking in for, but a lot of courses in HR as well, a few integral courses that we did in HR. And then, of course, my internship was really, really rigorous, I would have to say, which helped me add on a few key pointers to my resume and make it a little more weighty. And of course, the soft skill courses that we had, from leadership to happiness to the consulting skills, basically, I thoroughly enjoyed, and we actually right now working with a live client, trying to solve their problems. And further on, I think theatre was one of the most liberating courses that we did this entire term. And of course, our trip to Zimbabwe. Encapsulating all of this, I think 1 year, you would, as I mentioned at the beginning also, if you allow yourself to change, you will see a lot of difference in yourself. And you will definitely be a good leader once you go back to your workspace. Do we have anything?
So, Anurag, I would request my admissions team our admissions team to actually get back to you, because you have certain technical questions like the fee, and you also mentioned that you visited the website, but you did not get any examination form. So I think we'll ask the admission team to get back to you, and they'll be happy to clarify your doubts.
I hope we've answered most of the question. If there's anything else that, okay, we had a few pointers which were in terms of campus and the professors at SOIL.
So as far as the professors are concerned, I mean, they will support you right from the start to end. I think you can. It's difficult, for me, I found it's difficult to find professors who are so approachable. Absolutely. You can just walk into their cabin and they'll welcome you with open arms. You literally can get free counseling sessions whenever you want. And as far as your placements are concerned, or if you have any personal issues as well. They're more than happy to give their time and talk to you. And their skills and competencies as far as teaching is concerned is just amazing, because they have this rich industry experience, which they transfer to us, and they transfer it so effortlessly. They have these stories, these instances where they have faced issues and how they have tackled them, what was going through their mind. And apart from the permanent faculty, we have excellent external faculties. It's the sessions that we have had with some of the external faculty. It's so memorable that we can never forget them. And we have guest lectures as well. Frequently, we have guest lectures, from industry leaders from different sectors. They come and they share their experience. And all in all, it's a wonderful set of faculty members who will handhold you throughout this year, and they will help you in the development process.
Before I talk about the faculty at SOIL, there's also one thing a very key thing which we forgot, so sorry. We have a very good thing called the leadership series, where the college as well as us, the students as well, we try and look out for the industry leaders who we think are very influential, and their expertise, their knowledge, their experience can really be enriching for all of us. So we've had in the past, we've had Anku Variko, we've had a few people we've had Tata Motors and like CEOs of very top companies, even CHRO heads from Tata Motors, Tata Beverages, from Mahindra, from Nissan. So they're really people who have reached those levels in the corporate ladder, and they literally help you, start off that. They help kind of guide you that what should be your starting points of how you should conduct yourself, what you should be looking out for, what you should aim for rather. Another very important thing is our mentorship program, and this is actually a graded program. So mentorship program also, you are given an internal mentor, who is mostly your faculty or one of the persons from the college in terms of from the CNS team or someone from the consulting team. And you have an external mentor as well, who is, as we mentioned, is a corporate leader. And they kind of help you with your development plan that we create at the start of the year. And they help and handhold you throughout the year to help you reach where you think you want to be and where you are currently. Of course, they help you with your resume, they help you with your interpersonal skill, they help you probably just sit down and have a conversation and see what is where the problem lies.
Also, a very important part of our curriculum is the social innovation program, where we get to work with various NGOs, and we get to meet these wonderful people working for wonderful causes. And every Wednesday, I mean one day a week, we get to visit the NGOs, work with them. They have defined projects. They have certain expectations, and to be honest, after this program, people have actually have their minds opened. There was a complete transformation in the way they look at people. They look at social issues, and I think that's something which is very important to SOIL. They give a lot of emphasis on that, and that's something which is a brilliant experience for all the students.
Absolutely. Like one day a week, and you're not just being there as a volunteer. You're actually trying to be there as a consultant who's trying to, as in, see of how you can help them do their work better. In terms of, they would have the expertise in terms of running the organization, doing the cause that they're so attached to. But then probably they're not doing it in a very cooperative way, and probably you can help them kind of leverage that. We help our organization a lot with digital media, their digital footprint, and we really help them increase that. I'm sure that these guys, it's something very similar on lines of probably helping them raise a fundraiser or making them a more sustainable system. So I think we coming from management school, we can help them do their business. I mean, I won't call it business, sorry, but we can help them run their organization much, much efficiently in terms of looking at the bottom line and looking at the numbers.
Yeah, I think I should have mentioned a very critical point that we're just not going there to volunteer and just to be there with the people. It's also an opportunity for us to use our management skills there.
Absolutely.
And it's a combination of their vision, their dreams with our management, strategy or plans. I think every year it's something that students cherish at the end of the course.
And you walk out with something. You definitely walk out with something pleasurable.
So Prashant has a question. I have 70% marks. Is there any possibility to get into IIMs? Prashant, I think this is the right platform. But I wish you all the best for wherever you get.
So I think that's more or less the questions that we had. And still, if you still have any queries, we shall be more than happy to answer them. Our names are mentioned right across in the link as well.
Yeah.
Please reach out to us if you have any queries for SOIL, and all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.